Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy. Darling. Light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course. I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
That's all we've been getting, dude.
Calling us in. All right, we'll start. This is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. I'm gonna just start it there. That's Jordan.
What's up, dude?
I believe we are gonna talk about movies.
We are. Welcome to 2023. I just want to establish that's the year of our Lord.
This is the first movie of 2023.
Heck yeah.
We apologize if it's a little loosey-goosey just because we have been on a hiatus for the last couple weeks. We're kind of out of touch. We haven't done the pod in a minute. I haven't seen Jordan's face on my monitor.
With the youth.
Oh yeah,
dude, I can't wait. Go to our YouTube and you can.
I really hope it works because then you could come look at our faces too. Jordan's got a dynamic light behind him now, and it's like
This is it.
Well, that's his other job. He's a cam girl. That's what it looks like.
I know. I wish, man.
That's how we keep the lights on over here.
I did promise to upgrade my production value 2023.
It looks great.
And I'm keeping to it. I think this does look good.
You did.
I love it.
So
all it takes is a $15 light.
$15. That ain't bad.
Yeah.
2023, new year, new me. What a better way to start off the month than with what is considered one of the greatest films of all time.
It is considered that.
Oh yeah, it's always top 5 at least. I mean, unless people are just weird about it and actively, but. On all the big ones, I remember back in the day when I first saw this movie.
We'll get to first impressions in just a minute.
No. I just remember the prestige of it. It's just the monument of what it is, and
dude, I feel awkward because it's like we're gonna get into prestige of it, and it really kind of hindered my viewing experience.
I can get that,
and I'm gonna leave it at that somber note, and I'm gonna give a quick synopsis
for
anybody who hasn't.
I was gonna make a joke. No, I was gonna make a joke about what movie it is, but I won't. It's The Godfather.
Oh, did you not say it?
No.
Okay. Well, they'll read the title, but yeah.
You fucking clicked on it.
It's 1972's The Godfather.
The Godfather.
The Godfather on the
Francis
day
Ford
of
Coppola, The Godfather with the Brando. You know which one I'm talking about. The most famous movie of all time.
It's the only. I mean, it literally is, like you said, top 5. But it's. I would say it's like even more so. I mean, the fact that it doesn't make it on like the number 1 list. I mean, you said top 5, but even honestly, I bet if we looked right now, AFI, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, 12. Or 13.
Yeah, possibly.
Really
I always think it's just like a lot of classic lists and like IMDb top 250 back in the day is where I like started my journey of finding movies. So it was like, Shawshank, and then it was literally the 2 Godfathers, and I was like,
okay. I went out there and I went on a limb. I'm a dumb idiot. Godfather's number 2 on AFI.
On AFI?
Top 100.
Let me
top
guess.
100. Yeah.
What's number 1? Is it Citizen Kane?
Always, yeah. It's been Citizen Kane, I think, for like 50 years.
Yeah.
I know it's always been Citizen Kane. But yeah, dude, that'd be a fun. That is going to be. I'm going to suggest this as a side project for us. So on bonus episodes, we should just go down AFI's 100 list.
That would be fun. Or just start cracking off the big boys. Because it's like there is a handful I've not seen.
Well, I bet you we've seen probably I bet we've seen over half. Half of them.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But anyways, I mean, that's kind of what AFI goes for, is kind of a nice balance of popular and then just like critically acclaimed. And
it's funny. This is considered one of the greatest movies of all time, and not just for film nuts, but I guarantee you, in my personal life,
Oh, dude.
Almost no one
Everyone.
has seen it. No one has seen it.
Oh, really?
I mean-
I'm opposite. I think it's very well. I think it's in the pop culture. I don't
People
know if
over a
it's
certain
sat down
age,
and watched
maybe, but it's just like this movie's 50 years old at this point, and it has such a prestige and such a like legendary status. It's like mythic. That it's like everyone knows what it is and knows what it's all about. But
Yeah.
I was surprised Pablo actually went and watched it, the whole thing, for the first time. But it's like, if you would have asked him the other day, hey, have you ever seen The Godfather? He would probably just say, yeah, just to save the
Oh,
conversation.
dude, are you like doxing me right now? I'm that person.
Oh, yeah.
I only know this movie through popular culture. I have never
And that's fine, though.
I've never watched this movie. It's a film that like I've known about clearly forever since I got into film. And then through high school it was one of those movies where it's like I like would just dodge the question when people have like, hey, have you seen it? And I'm like, on the day of my wife or my day of my daughter's wedding. It's like I know like the quotes because it's like fucking Tweety Bird's quoted this like every show.
We're off the rails, and then you're gonna give a thing here in a minute, a synopsis for those of you that need a little refresher. But I want to know real quick, what's the most what movie are you most ashamed you haven't seen as a quote unquote film lover? Was it The Godfather up until this point?
Is that are you directing the question to me or the audience?
Well, both.
Oh,
Come
okay.
tell us on the thing. But like, what's the big movie that you're like other film fans? You're like, I have not seen The Godfather.
That's a beautiful question. We'll pose that question on Reddit.
Yeah, I think so.
And you should also call in with your hot takes. What movie have you not seen?
Just don't tell us you're going to kill us.
Yeah, please be kind. But dial 801-613-1501 and answer that question. And then I will answer that question right now.
Don't scare me. I'm scared all the time.
It's probably like The Godfather, which now I've seen, so I can knock that off my list.
Yeah.
But maybe like I haven't seen. See, with us, there's some that I haven't seen that are like that I want to. Like I haven't seen Double Indemnity, and that's like one of them. Like
that's true.
I really need to see that. And I haven't technically seen Casablanca. So
yeah, you know what?
I haven't watched it credit to credit. Like
same front to back. Haven't watched Casablanca.
I've seen like probably 30 minutes of scenes.
I've never seen Schindler's List, and I tried last week. I put it on the poll against Godfather. And I knew I thought for sure like I thought Godfather might win just because it's the Godfather, but I was maybe if we're talking scores here, people are gonna go. I mean, John Williams did the score for Schindler's List, so. That's my big one. And honestly, I haven't seen the like middle of Citizen Kane. I don't remember it at all.
Oh really? Oh, I
remember like the first hour and the end, and I don't remember anything else. But it's funny because this movie, I thought like I didn't remember a lot. I was watching it and I was like, oh, I only remember like the first 30 minutes. But then as I was watching, I was like, no, this movie's actually pretty in my mind, surprisingly, like the big scenes.
Well, it's hilarious. The scenes that have been memed now, I'm like, it's wild. I'm like, oh my God, I know all the scenes that are coming up, and I've seen clips of them. It felt weird. It felt uncanny. I was watching this movie for the first time, but it felt so familiar, like I had seen it. It was so I don't know.
That is weird, right? Yeah, because that's what I was thinking to myself too. I'm like, how much of this is actual memory of the last time I watched it, and how much of this is just literally living in film culture for most of my life? You know what I mean? And literally any pop culture, because it's not just film. Like it's bled into everything. Yeah. I mean, like literally, there's fucking Godfather's Pizza has the same logo and everything. You know what I mean? It's like literally in my food.
You know what was my joke the whole time I was watching this? I was like Al Pacino now. He's the Godfather Pizza manager, and he's the one. And then I was like he's got new fresh ideas. He's gonna open a salad bar. Like he's Godfather's Pizza, dude.
Open a salad bar in Vegas. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Calm down.
Please God.
Sorry, I just missed doing the podcast. I missed it.
I know, me too. This is kind of we're gonna be on a half ramble here.
That's okay. What's give us a synopsis.
Okay, this is gonna be bad. But I'm just prefacing that right now. So it's actually kind of interesting. This movie it's weird. It feels like an epic. Like I always think like because we did epics a while ago, and Lawrence of Arabia, go listen to that podcast. Was like the one that really stood out in my mind. And I loved the storytelling of Lawrence of Arabia, and I think it did a really good job. and this feels similar to how the story is told, where it seems like it's really condensed scenes that kind of tell a larger story, which I think help it and hinder it in a way, and we'll get into that a little bit later.
No, I 100% agree with that, though.
But let me give you a quick synopsis. The Godfather is Don Vito Corleone. Corleone.
They pop an A at the end sometimes.
Corleone. Oh my gosh.
Don Corleone.
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 When I'm trying to read it,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Forget about it.
I read it?
Forget about it.
Dude. Oh my god. Welcome to the public school system. So Don Corleone, he is the Godfather. He is the head of, like, I don't even know, all of New York is like his thing, and he's an old mobster. This takes place right after, like, World War II, and it is like late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, it's like 45 to 55.
Right. And so is that how the, like,
that's what it says in the thing, but yeah, it's supposed to be like 10 years.
Okay, cool. Because this movie does elapse a lot of time, and it elapse time in kind of an interesting way. But anyhow, so yeah, the Vito Corleone, he is the Godfather. He owns this whole syndicate, and he has a son, Michael, and a son, Sonny, and then
Sony Entertainment.
Yeah, it's a son named Sonny, and then he has a son, kind of. He's like an orphan son named Tom, and Tom is like the business aspect of it and the lawyer, essentially.
Yeah.
So he takes care of all the paperwork.
Concierge or whatever they call him.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the front guy, the professional business front guy.
Yeah, he's the suit. He's the one that will when they need to make a.
You gotta have a suit you can trust,
Yeah, exactly. And now I can't even think of the quote. What is it? It's like, make him an offer he can't refuse. He's the one that comes in. He makes the first offer. Anyways,
he's the paperwork guy. He's the bureaucrat of the organization.
He is the bureaucrat. Yeah. And then Sonny's kind of like the hot shot, and he's the older son. And Michael's like he's the dude that doesn't really want to be part of this. He's a little younger. He's a little like,
and then
green.
Fredo's the middle child, who is totally. I mean, he's not. He's pretty forgettable though.
Fredo doesn't even really count though, because he's barely in this one. I know that he becomes a larger player later because they go to Vegas and stuff. But anyhow, the whole.
So what's
movie,
the plot?
What literally that's the thing. That's just like 4 characters of this whole thing, and they're really the main characters. But anyways, it starts out where it is some girl, I don't even know her name. She's the daughter of Corleone. Doesn't really matter because she's barely in it.
Yeah, was it Connie or something? Yeah, you're right.
I think it might.
Her
be
husband's
Connie,
in it more than her.
So,
though.
Right. So the first like 40 minutes, 35 minutes is their wedding, and it's cool. It goes around, and it's just showing like a large group and a large mix of backgrounds. Like, some are gangsters, some are just like people that are trying to get favors from the Don, and it's like, I don't know, it's this huge thing. It goes around. There's a buttload of people in it, and then God, what happens after that exactly? I don't even remember, dude.
I'm trying to remember like the order.
It's a big movie.
So
the order I can't quite remember.
Yeah. So it's like they have the wedding, they have their thing, basically.
And then there's a dude who wants to become an actor.
Yeah.
And then they go to like, that's a little scene that happens that kind of demonstrates the power of the Don and what he can do. He cuts a horse head off, and it's in the bed. There's blood everywhere.
This guy,
pretty dope.
It's like, his name's like Salieri, I think. He comes and he wants to get in. He wants to get into narcotics, and everyone else is into it except for Don Corleone.
You're getting so nitty gritty.
That's way more important to the plot than.
I guess that's true than
Johnny
the
Fontaine. Who's the singer. Because that's the whole reason they put a hit out on Don Corleone. He gets attacked. They try to kill him so they can.
Oh, that's right. That's what it is. It's like
that's what starts the gang war.
Right.
It starts the whole conflict.
That's essentially like the inciting incident.
The external conflict. Yeah.
Right.
That is. Right. That pretty much is the exciting incident.
Arguably the exciting incident. Yeah. He gets blasted, dude, and it blew my mind. I was like 50 in my notes. I wrote, we're 50 minutes into this thing, and does he die in the first 50? Because I don't know the order. I just like, I didn't even know he died in this movie. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
The like main Godfather dies, but it's the whole. Can I just give a quick? I'm just going to give this synopsis.
It's because the Godfather is actually it's Michael who becomes the Godfather.
Well, right, he does, and then he becomes he's like reluctantly, but then he actually fucking dominates.
All right, give me the quick synopsis. I'm going to give you you're lost in the weeds, bud.
It's a thick soup, buddy.
It is. It's thick. It is.
The aging. This is off of IMDb. Yeah. The aging patriarch of an organized crime dynasty in post-war New York City transfers control of his clandestine empire to his reluctant youngest son. There you go. That's it. If you don't want to see the movie based on that synopsis, then you don't need to see this movie.
This is just classic. Just go, I don't know.
This is just your classic crime drama, but it's like, I feel like it's not the first movie to quote unquote completely glorify and to kind of just give more seriousness and more depth to these mobsters. Because a lot of back in the day, back in like the 50s, when they were making these kind of movies more so, it was usually like they had to have a climax that got them, that like they got their comeuppance. They were arrested or killed, or they quit, they retired. It had to be something in that vein. Yeah. Because like one of the most prolific and most violent, and the original Scarface.
Yeah, I was gonna say Scarface.
That's one that's like that's the one that stands out in my mind, because that was like, that reminds me of this movie a lot, or vice versa. And it's like the Scarface had to have a moral thing. I think he gets killed by the cops or caught by the cops. I can't quite remember exactly, but it's something involving the police, and they win. So it has to be like, that was like a big thing.
Yeah,
it's
like lawful. Yeah,
right. And Paramount actually had some issues with this movie, but they also, this is super crazy, dude. This is like number one 2023 fun fact. The first one, Paramount actually asked them to go back, asked Francis Ford Coppola to add in more family dynamics and to create more humanity. The original cut was 2 hours long, 2 hours and 6 minutes. And so he went back. Professor Coppola has like, they had so much ample.
Yeah, I'm glad they did, because it's like, at the end of the day, that's what made this movie kind of stand out a little bit more, to not be just like a stereotypical gangster flick, or whatever. Yeah, it is very much about family dynamics. I mean, fuck, you don't even see the other family they're fighting against like the whole movie. Like you literally, right? Because they're not even fighting against the one guy, the Salieri or whatever the fuck his name is. I know that's not right, but the other crime family that's like backing him up that they go to war with.
I really can't remember. You don't even see him, and then there's like two that fighting, and then
you literally don't even see him. I think you see him at the wedding briefly, maybe, but
or at the funeral too. I think, right?
Yeah. But then you don't see him until like they have their big sit down near the end of the movie, where after Sonny gets killed and Don Corleone goes in there and is like, whatever it takes, stand the violence. Like, I'll go with the drug thing.
All five heads come together, because that's what's kind of cool. Is like, this is like a nationwide, I don't know. Yeah, they're gangster syndicate that like that they all kind of operate, and they're all kind of like, hey, I've got this politician in my pocket. I've got this gambling ring.
Well, it's interesting to see the crime element of the time.
Right.
Like, obviously there was like huge gangsters back during like Prohibition era and stuff, but like it's interesting that the Corleones, like, their biggest thing was involvement in like olive oil.
Right.
You know what I mean? Originally, like, and then it's just like until everyone starts getting drugs, which is interesting, because this is like Don Corleone's old school, and then this is what causes it. He's like, hey, you're out of here, old man. Bang, bang. We're moving on to the new age. But it's funny because he's absolutely right. Drugs are the downfall of organized crime, 100%. You know what I mean? Is getting into narcotics, because that's when
he's like, narcotics, and then because he's just like, we're just running women, and we're running gambling.
Fine. Back then, it's fine.
It's harmless, dude. Booze,
and they're all
booze
like, we're just going to give it to the minorities. They're already half dead anyway.
Oh, buddy, do we want to get into that, man?
I mean,
I clearly understand it's like the time. I'm curious though.
It's not even the movie; it's just them too. It's like it seems accurate for the characters. Yeah.
Oh, of course. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and I want to know how closely related the book is to this, because it's
Me too.
written by the author.
Yeah.
The author did the screenplay, and then he apparently wrote it like super close to the book. So I have a strong feeling.
I want to see that show, The Offer, which is about the making of this movie. We had a God, I wish I had it in front of me right now, but we had a listener or someone on the Reddit that suggested it to us back like 6 months ago. They're like, "Hey, you guys should go watch The Offer. It's like a mini series on like Showtime or something that is about like the making of this." And I really want to go watch it now because I saw a trailer for it the other day randomly after I had watched The Godfather, and I was like, "Oh, like now I really want to get into it because it's like, you know, some of it's based on like true stories, and so like, the mob is involved in all that."
Right. And I'd love to know the BTS or the behind the scenes. Yeah, BTS. It's like they freaking this is such a huge movie, and it had like a really big production with a lot of huge stars and a lot of like personalities. And so all the stuff that I've read so far has been like really fun. But I mean, this is one of the biggest, like, and there's books written about this. Like you said, that documentary, we should watch that. Do you know what's cool though? In like 76 or 77, they did a super cut. And I would love to get my hands on that of the first two movies.
I heard it. Somebody said that on our Reddit.
Oh, cool.
And they said it sucks though.
Oh, really?
Maybe
it's supposed to be like a super cut with like extra extended footage.
Apparently,
deleted scenes.
it's really good for like a whole continuous continuity. But they said that it takes away. Maybe it wasn't our Reddit. Maybe it was another one. But it takes away from like the pacing and like the dramatic tension because it's like cut chronologically. So it's like the parts from two. Because a lot of two. I started watching two, but I only got like 20 minutes in. Because it was like that. Two is like 3.5 hours long. So,
dude, I'm excited. I'm gonna watch it because I'm just kind of.
Well, I put it on the Plex. So.
Okay, cool.
As well. So anyway.
So
let's back it up though. So this is I'd seen this once before, back when in the golden age of me being in 14, 15, as I've watched like every movie ever.
Right.
I saw it and I watched it and I'm like, that was fine. I liked it, but I don't get all the hubbub. You have never seen it, so I'm like wondering what it was like for you going in and then like what it was coming out.
I think what's difficult for me is I've seen, and we did Goodfellas before.
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. No, yeah. So we did Goodfellas. You should go listen to that podcast. And because we rave about that, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, of course, like what Francis Ford Coppola did is he told a really strong story, and it's so accurately portrayed from like, you know, book to screen that it has to kind of stand the test of time because it does how it exists as a film. It is an epic.
Yeah, I kept forgetting it's so.
I like it feels snappy. Goodfellas feels snappy. I like Goodfellas more. I like narration. I think that's a big part of it. Because Scorsese always uses narration.
I think Goodfellas is a better film. Just as like a straight up like piece of cinema. This movie, I was really surprised. This rewatch, especially, mostly, of how nuanced it was, but also like it was still like pretty action packed and bombastic when it needed to be. Like it punctuated its scenes really well, the tension. But like I feel like it was like kind of ahead of its time because the story it's 50 years old. You know,
I have it written down right here, baby. Freaking, I wrote respect is due. But like how Sopranos became like the renaissance of television.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like, but now Sopranos kind of seems a little.
It feels
dated.
A little dated, but it's like it's really good, really well written. But you got to like, I feel like that's kind of how this is, you know. And it's weird that it starts. It's gangster movies. Yeah. It's something about gangster movies because it's like they inherit they are the best version of like the American dream. You know what I mean?
I think so. Well, for the white folk, yeah. But
no, I mean like not like the most ideal version, but I mean like they're the best thing in media. It's the thing in media that like mafia movies in media like really push this like idea. It's the first thing saying of like, you know, power and corruption, like endless ambition and like this endless reach is ultimately your downfall is what I'm saying.
And I think it's that too. But
Which
I also think
that's what I mean is by like the false narrative of the American dream. Like these are always the stories that say, "Hey, this is the American dream shown through the lens of this crime family," but it's always getting. It's like it always comes up to bite you, man, as it does always.
Right. Well, and I think it's because it just shows that like I think it's almost slight propaganda to like capitalism, where it's like you need a structure. Because these syndicates that come together, someone's going to turn on somebody. It's like it's like there's no law and order in these. It's like it's all just respect in your word, and then you can go back on your word.
I think that's what changes it too. It's like it very much, and from what I know about how this movie leaves off, but what I know about the sequel as well, it's like Don Corleone is the last. He's the end of an era where it is about family and it's about respect, but then like. This blind, ambitious capitalist, Michael, who he eventually becomes, he keeps saying, it's not personal. It's business. It's business. I know. It's business. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But it's like have a lot of quotable lines in it.
But it is like, it is business, but it is also like personal on the fact of it's like.
Well, that's what I love. It's so personal.
The respect. Dude, it's beyond personal.
He kills the dude who's beating up his sister. It's like, he like freaking just. It is so personal, but it's great.
That's why gangster movies too, like The Wire, is like the same. Where it's like anything that's like people in power.
All right, we haven't even made it through one podcast.
I'm saying any type of gangster movie with like a criminal organization shows it best because it shows that they can operate, quote unquote. Like you get the best fiction because there's like murders and stuff. Which obviously is real, but it's all about the illusion of power. So you can, in his mind, Michael can say, oh, killing Carlo, the husband, is not a personal decision. It's a business decision because I can't be perceived as weak. You know what I mean? As the CEO of this family, sure. I can't be perceived as like someone can beat my sister. And, it's all about like, perceptions and illusions and like, like, who you are, word of mouth, not who you actually are. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why he kills fucking everyone at the end of the movie.
And that's so dope. That is that scene. So that like the baptism punctuated with all the violence is fantastic.
It's so good.
And it's a really great climax for it totally like sets it up like for a sequel like this. And what's cool is like this movie generated so much buzz that it already was greenlit for a sequel immediately in production, so, and which like it does show, and I am excited to see the sequel. And I've heard that the first two are like they stand up really well and they're classic because it's like when the third one came out in the 90s, right?
I did not know that until I looked it up because the first one came out 72,
then
second one came out 74, and then the third one came out in 1990.
It was 90. That's bonkers.
That makes me want to watch it less because I heard it's not that good anyway. But I'm also like, I don't need to watch it. Honestly, I will probably eventually. But.
Yeah, and I was actually I just want to get real quick. Sofia Coppola, she's in this movie, and the whole time I was like, who is she? Like I kept seeing like little girls running around, and I'm like, is that Sofia Coppola? And I kept making that joke, and so I was like, who's Sofia Coppola? She's the baby that gets baptized.
Are you kidding?
So, dude, that's the thing. I
guess that makes sense. This movie's 50 years old.
50 years old, right. And so, Sofia Coppola, whoa, dude, I'm sorry. We just blew out your age there. But
wow.
So, like, yeah. But she's great, too. I love her filmography. But, anyways, that's just wild. And I know that that's what I've heard, is she was, like, the worst part of the third installment.
Oh, really?
What is she, like, 20? So, it's like, I don't know, people are like, I don't know.
I want to see it just because I am honestly this time around. I liked it much more on the second rewatch, but I'm like way more invested in Michael's character arc because I think it's really good.
Well, and I think I benefited from waiting. I think if I watched this earlier, I probably would have. I don't know. Like if I watched this, like
you probably would have had the same opinion to me. Is where like that's fine, but like. Why would I watch that when I can go watch Goodfellas or Casino or whatever?
Right. And I still right now don't quite like, I wouldn't put this as my number 2 film of the greatest films of all time. But that's just because I can see that it definitely stands up the test of time. It's super solid. There's like it had everything going right, and it was like it's like a movie that's firing on cylinders. But I also kind of wish that it's like really really structured, decent like prog rock. But I want like Scorsese. He's got a little
No,
jazz.
I get it.
like how it's he's
Oh, I
a little
get
he's a
it.
little like he's a little quick witted.
And that is the 100% only reason why I prefer Goodfellas, is because this movie is a very like, it's it's got quite a lot
It
more
almost
like
feels kind of
action than
sterile.
I remember, but it is very like it's soft, it's mellow, it's very like it's got the music that's like,
and that's what dude. So the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, ooh, Al Pacino, Brando. Al Pacino, Brando. Who is it? I can't pick who is fucking killing it because every time
they
every
both
time one of them
absolutely destroyed
every
it.
every time Marlon Brando's in a scene, I'm like, God, he's good. And then Al Pacino, I'm like, Al Pacino's so sexy and smooth in this, dude. It's so young, and young Pacino is better Pacino. I don't know, man,
dude. Yeah.
So
That's not
good.
even a controversial fucking opinion, dude.
No,
Young
no.
Pacino, like this and like Dog Day Afternoon, man, forget about it.
Dude, I know, and we did that as a podcast. Go listen to that.
Go
episode.
listen to that episode.
But dude, holy shit! No. When they're together in one scene towards the end, and he's it's when he's really old, and it's right before he dies.
Yeah,
Marlon-
he's like, I've been
Marlon
drinking a lot of wine lately.
I've been drinking a lot of wine lately, and he's like, it's good for you, Dad. It's good for you.
Yeah,
I just
heart health.
that scene together. I'm like, oh my God, that's my favorite scene. So already if we're jumping to the end. That's my favorite scene. It's so beautiful because that's
so good.
That I just wanted to like clarify that
That's
I don't.
But
need
that's
action.
the emotional core of this movie. Like the action was great.
My God.
Like
That's
Sonny,
so good.
Sonny getting gunned down on the toll booths was fucking awesome. But like, it's these
that's cool.
small. That's what makes this movie though. Is it's like these small family dynamics, these character arcs, these subtle performances to this like. And the movie's so soft visually. Like I really liked the cinematography a lot. It's like a lot of browns and yellows and stuff.
And it's so dark. That was something that fun fact is like the Paramount was like, this is so dark, people are gonna hate it. And everyone, the cinematographer and Francis Ford Coppola had to be like, no, we're putting our foot down, dude. This is beautiful.
No,
and
it is very, like you said, it's very like self-serious. I think it deserves it, but I agree. I like the pizzazz. It's like
right on the line of melodramatic.
Yeah. Almost,
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah,
I feel like
right
it's, but again, it's
Goes-
kind of ahead of its time because it's
Goes
like
right up to it, and it's perfect.
Yeah. But no, I Marlon Brando, he's one I've always wanted to like explore his filmography a little bit more because I'm not so familiar with him as much as I'd like to be. I've been dying to watch On the Waterfront and stuff like that, but like in this movie, I was like, oh, like especially during the first, like you said, like 45 minutes at the wedding, it's like he's good, but he's just like he's the Godfather. You know what I mean? It's what you know. But like, there's so many. It is like he's like, but I'm the mobster, but it's that legacy.
It's been parried. Yeah, exactly. I think if I'm watching this in 1972, I'm floored.
Yeah,
I'm like,
But there's so many scenes. Like there's a scene when he first finds out, he comes down. He's like recovering from getting shot still, and he comes down to talk to Tom, the excellent Robert Duvall, obviously, and comes down to talk to Tom. And he's like, "Hey, I was gonna come wake you up," and he's like, "Why don't you tell me everything that everyone in my house already seems to know?" You know, and he's like, Sonny's dead, and he's just like. It's just his acting is so fucking good because he's doing like the eyebrow thing, and he's like trying to hold it together, but all the words coming out of his mouth are like, "All right, well, let's make some phone calls." Like it's very like serious, very to business, but you can tell he's like barely keeping his shit together. Like my boy, my boy. And then obviously the classic scene when he brings them to the Undertaker, and he's like, "Look how they massacred
my boy." Well, no, I think the scene that I love to. Like portray all because that's what it is, dude. Paramount actually knocked it. This is like one of the rare occasions where a studio stepped in and it was for the better. Because I love all the family dynamics and like the scene when he hides his father, and that's like the symbolic scene where he's taking over. He's
is 100% my favorite scene.
Your favorite scene, and that's a fucking dope ass scene, dog. Where they like he wheels him in with the nurse, and
when he comes in,
his tear and everything, and I'm like, Marlon Brando
was like.
Act.
So good. So, he's like in bed, like half unconscious.
Let me be the first to say Marlon Brando can act.
But it's like there's so many scenes too because he's like, "It's okay, Dad. They got Papa all alone." And that whole scene is so fucking good because it's like that's the moment they have their bond. Like that's the first moment Michael realizes, oh, I am cut from this cloth. You know, later, like when they go out and he bluffs with that guy, he's like, "Put your hand in your pocket."
Mm-hmm. Because he's cool and calm and collective. But I think what's nice, this movie does a really good job at that. Where like, even though I feel like when he goes to like Sicily, right? Is that he goes to like Corleone? I think is the town he was.
Yeah, because he's originally named something else.
Right. Anyhow, so when he goes to that town, I think it's like that relationship's kind of dorky a little bit, you know. When
he marries that young girl and she dies in a car bomb. That's his side quest, man.
It's like 15 minutes, just to kind of show. I think it's just to like give him because he's a cop killer, which is dope.
It gave him obviously.
It gives him the cop killing that gave him like the bloodlust, that edge, his toughness.
Well, he's always. And then that's the thing. It's like
I can love, and then when I lost my love, and now I'm like, you know, now I'm kind of putting my pieces back together.
Mm-hmm. And he's always just like that's where he loses like more of his like quote unquote innocence. Like he was always like this soldier, so he could like when he makes the plan with everyone else to like he's like I'll go in there, I'll meet them, and we'll plant a gun and I'll shoot them both in the head. And everyone's like laughs at him, and he's like, no, seriously, like that's like how you got to plan. As like he's more calculated.
That's a really dope scene because the tension
that's easily my second favorite scene because it's like
trying to find the gun. I was nervous, dude. I was straight up like
when he sits back at the table and his eyes are just darting around and there's the sound of the train, just like building. That whole scene is building to that moment, but the whole last fucking 45 minutes is building to that moment. Like it's such a tense moment, and then he just like stands up and wastes them both, and he shoots that police captain right in the throat, and he's got like his bib on. He's like, it's beautiful.
Can we give Sterling Hayden, even though he had to play a cop, Sterling Hayden, dude, the essence of water. Your body is the essence of water. From
right
from Dr. Strangelove, dude.
Yeah, it is him. It's the fluoride, you know, my fluids.
Fluoride. Yeah, he's got to have your fluorides. Or is
that is? I knew he looked kind of familiar. I couldn't pinpoint it though. But yeah, this movie's just got so many good scenes. Like I would forget. Like I think that's what stood out to me most. This rewatch was definitely that hospital scene. Like I did not remember that at all. But it's because I was much more invested in the characters and the world and like not even so much the drama that's happening to them because that's just a catalyst for them to move forward. You know what I mean? And so that scene like really stood out to me more because it's like I always remembered like the classic scenes like Sonny getting shot at the toll booth, the horse and head.
The horse head is like one that I was expecting it or I was waiting for it, and like the second he was like he's like let me see this horse. And I was like, oh, that horse dies.
I know, he's like this is $100,000 right here, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, right. And then he wants to have sex with it, and then it's like they're just like dude.
To be fair, that was a beautiful horse, though. I gotta say,
it was a beautiful horse.
I wonder, especially with Francis Ford Coppola's history of killing real animals, that severed head looked real.
It's a real severed head.
Okay,
so
it did. I was going to say that looks like a real severed head.
My third fun fact for 2023, he totally just lobbed that fucking head off of that horse.
Just himself with a sword, like a claymore, just like
yeah, dude. He just came in.
I pass this judgment. Just chops his head off.
Really, he got the horse head from a dog food manufacturer, and he was giving everybody on set shit because they were, which obviously it's like it is like troublesome, and you know because he had such a like cool, calm demeanor and very just like matter of fact. He's like throwing it, and I'm sure he was probably making quips and some shit like that. Who knows? But it's like 72. So, but anyhow, he's probably being insensitive, but he makes a good point where he's like, the dog food manufacturer, they kill like 200 horses a day to make the dog food of the dogs to feed your dogs that you love. Like everyone on set was like, oh, this breaks my heart.
What do you think they're eating?
Feed your dog. Right, yeah. So it was just kind of funny. I was like,
well, it's different mentalities too.
But it's fine. It's like,
well, I mean, even when we were making our movie, do you remember my grandfather, R.I.P., he was like, Taya was all freaked out about the fake blood because it was so sticky. And my grandpa's like, you want a bucket of cow blood? Because he worked at the slaughterhouse. And we're like, I don't think she's going to go for just like an actual bucket of cow blood, but thanks for the offer.
real blood.
He's just like,
Actually,
I'll get you a bucket of cow blood right now.
that's why our movie didn't succeed. We should have gotten real blood and thrown it on her.
I would have
Kenny
sold
side.
it. Yeah, I would have
I
sold
would
it.
have really sold it. She probably would have had genuine fear.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Live and learn,
Dude,
I guess, right?
This movie, I know, right? Yeah, but so in Godfather, there are so many like unscripted moments and such probably like that movie magic where it's like you can't replicate that. And that's what's actually kind of funny on that note is Marlon Brando, he kind of sounds like a little bit of a pill to work with because he like
I've heard,
he refuses to learn his lines and he totally just will get on set and there's either cue cards written around or
I've
he'll
heard
just,
that,
like,
yeah,
they
notoriously. And I think that's why I've never been like, oh, I want to get really into Brando. Like I'm like, oh, he seems like this diva from like the golden age of Hollywood. But like, and I've seen him in a handful of stuff, especially as he's older. But watching him in this, I'm like, yeah, that dude can fucking act though. Like he could definitely fucking act though.
That's the thing.
And he could be soft, like when he's playing with his grandkid. He's got that's such a good last scene for him too.
Such a good last scene.
And I think that's why he's like the last of an era, man, because he's kind of like softer, and things are getting harder, you know.
His last movie was in 2006.
What?
So
that doesn't sound right. There's no way.
Doesn't sound right. But I'm looking at. It's called. I guess technically it's his voiceover. Or
I was gonna say, is he a hologram or something?
Dude, it's called Big Bug Man. It's a TV movie, and he's Mr. Sour.
Dude, Mr. Sour, Brando.
But I would imagine
recorded him rambling on his deathbed or something.
Or here, yeah, actually,
he's like, I won't learn my lines. Give me the cue card. I'm Mr. Sour Bugman.
Yeah, Mr. Sour Bugman. No, yeah, okay. So it is okay. So he died in 2004. So it was. So
we got to give. I think the acting in this movie was probably the highlight for me because obviously Pacino, he was another.
Was his last movie.
Still though.
Yeah, cool.
Pacino, like I feel like I like, but I've always been like, yeah, sure. But then like, yeah, early Pacino rules. Yeah. Robert Duvall crushes in this, and he's still alive. Bless his soul. But I did not realize when I first watched this really who James Caan was, and Cam Caan, but who plays Sonny. Oh, right. And I fell in love with him semi-recently, and he died this last year, 2022 or 2021. He died, and we had just watched Misery, where he's the main actor in Misery, right. And I was like, oh man, James Caan rules. And then I popped this movie on, and I was like, oh shit, it's James Caan. Like he does rule, and he's awesome in this. Yeah,
and it is cool. This is like
Thief. I watched started watching that Thief movie.
But yeah, this definitely has a star-studded cast of people who I didn't recognize Robert Duvall.
Well, I
hardly recognized Al Pacino or James Caan. It's like
Al Pacino. Something happened to him. I did not even recognize it as Diane Keaton, except for I kept seeing it on IMDb. Yeah. I'm like, that's Diane Keaton, I guess.
When you saw it in credits, we were like, oh my god, the quote unquote wife is.
Yeah, I really want to watch part 2, and I'm surprised I never did because in this era, when I was 14, 15, when I first watched this movie. As I've said before, my favorite actor was easily Robert De Niro. So I'm surprised I never watched this one because I want to really watch it now for young De Niro and young Pacino.
So De Niro is in the second one, right?
Yeah, because there's a lot of flashbacks. He plays a young Vito Corleone.
Okay, flip-flop. The whole time I was watching this, I was like,
where's De Niro?
I thought De Niro in these movies. I was like, I swear to God, Robert De Niro is part of this world because because Robert De Niro is part of the mafia world. That's his bread and butter, his niche is doing these mobster style movies. And so the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, was I wrong? okay, that makes me feel
the second one, yeah. I've not seen it. And I need to because at this time I'm surprised I didn't because young Robert De Niro too, young De Niro and young Pacino, man, in the 70s, dude, forget about it.
De Niro aged like a fine wine. That bad boy.
He still rules. Yeah, I'm gonna be.
I do want to see.
I'm gonna be sad when
Irishman. We're on this path, and I need to. I was gonna watch The Irishman the other day, but then I played some video games.
You should. It's so worth it.
I know. I need to. Yeah.
A lot of people kind of were hating on The Irishman because it was long, and then the effects were not. the
And
greatest.
it's so funny. I'm like, it's Scorsese.
It's Scorsese.
dude.
He doesn't care. He's just trying to tell a story, man. Like,
Yeah, exactly, right? He'll literally, dude, if he just like cuts it out of a cereal box and just tapes it up in the fucking
just
he
like
doesn't
we're
care.
gonna de-age him. Here's a picture of you, young. Just wear a mask of yourself.
Or what he does a lot of the times is he just gets a completely non-lookalike child actor and just throws him in there.
Well, the dude's,
Like, yeah.
I mean, fucking Scorsese's
love it.
like 90 or something now, and I'm gonna be so sad when he dies. But like, it's like he's not afraid to embrace new technologies. You know, it's like he's like, yeah, let's fucking do it. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. Francis Ford Coppola is coming out with a new movie though. Apparently,
Oh, okay, dude. I literally was just about to say
he was in the news like yesterday.
Are we not? I was afraid. I was like, did he pass away? I can't remember.
No,
But-
apparently not, because I kind of thought he was dead, and then they're like, "Oh, he's got a new movie, but it's hitting some production woes." Apparently, I've not read too into it because I never really got too into him because I did watch this and Apocalypse Now back in that golden era for me, and I thought they were both fine, and so I really liked this movie. Now I gave it on Letterboxd. I gave it 4.5 stars.
We need to go watch.
So
Apocalypse
I
Now.
want to rewatch Apocalypse Now because at the time I was like, yeah, but it's no fucking, I don't know.
Born.
Saving
you
Private
thinking?
Ryan. I'm trying to think what my favorite war movie was at the time. It was honestly probably Jarhead, but
Oh right, Jared.
but Jarhead does rule.
Born. Stanley Kubrick's movie. We did it.
Oh yeah, Full Metal Jacket. Yeah,
Full Metal Jacket.
that would be the other one.
That's been my favorite war movie for
Yeah,
a long time, and probably will stay one of my favorites forever. But
That's definitely mine. Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola is somebody I've actually never gotten into, and I would love to.
I tried to get us to watch his Dracula a couple months ago. I put it on a poll and it didn't win. A lot of movies don't win the poll, everybody.
Yo, he did. Oh, he did that Dracula. Oh, crazy, cool.
The weird, the wonky one, but I want to watch it because I've seen like a good chunk of it, like at John's house or something. We were all drunk,
Yeah.
and I watched like a half hour. And I'm like, this is nuts, but I kind of dig it. So I'm like, I want to watch it, but I've never fully watched it. So I want to sit down and watch his Dracula.
I have seen 3 Francis Ford Coppola movies, and let me tell you the whole list here. The Godfather,
Yeah.
which slaps. Apocalypse Now, which I thought was really good, but I also kind of, I don't know, Marlon Brando.
I feel like I was too young to appreciate it.
Right, exactly. He seemed kind of weird, and it was very slow, but I liked the action. And then the titular film Jack.
Oh yeah, holy shit, he did Jack. He's done some weird. He went kind of the guy who directed The Godfather. He kind of went off the rails there for a minute.
So that
surprised his
fantastic
new
film-
movie's not like a straight to. I mean, straight to DVD's not even really a thing anymore. Like a streaming fucking after hours horror movie or something.
His last movie was 2016, and I don't even know if that was a legitimate. It's called Distance Vision. I don't even know
Oh fuck.
if it was a full feature. But then he did another movie called Twixt in 2011, which looks actually pretty fucking cool.
Huh.
It's got Val Kilmer in it, so you know.
Hey, I like me some Kilmer.
And Val Kilmer's gone off the deep end, dude. Have you seen that? Well, not off the deep end, actually. No, he just had that.
He just doesn't have a voice box anymore because
doesn't
it's
have a voice
cancer
box,
or
yeah.
whatever.
I mean, like,
I haven't watched that documentary. I want to.
That documentary.
I feel bad because it's like so we're and this timeline that we're on here is incorrect because remember we're cutting the beginning out. But
I know. Well, I don't know. Maybe you should just leave it in because
I'm
it's
cutting.
kind of
It's so long. It's so long.
wild.
But
We should
I feel
put that
bad.
on the.
We haven't talked about. I feel like for The Godfather, I feel like it's an intimidating movie to talk about because
Yeah.
it's been talked about to death. It's been like film essayists have talked about it. Like everyone's talked about it for so long. I don't know what I can add to it, and I'm also don't feel equipped to be like I know how good it like it's like this every aspect of the filmmaking and the story like really resonates with me, and I really loved it a lot more in the acting. Goddamn, like if I had to pick one element, like I thought the acting was absolutely crushing it.
That is, and I think let's real quick. Let's get back to the root of our. So we haven't really structured the month of our podcast series very well. really last year and this year, I don't think we're gonna really like focus on, because we used to categorize our months like explicitly, because we used to say this month is gonna be like rom-coms, this month is gonna be like costume design,
and I feel bad, like I don't want to live and die by that, because in my brain too, the way my brain works, I'm like, oh, I have to watch only rom-coms this month. And so I watch other movies also, but I'm like, I won't watch whatever I want. I'll only watch rom-coms. You know?
Right. And that's like, that's fine. That's
why score works as a category when we don't focus on genre.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And so we would be remiss if we didn't bring up
the score.
The score. And we
mentioned it briefly, but yeah, it was
right. But like to highlight the man behind it, who's Neo Rota, who I'm not super familiar with. He's definitely not like someone who stands out. He passed away in 1979, so Mother Flipper was born in 1911.
Wow.
So pretty crazy, but also he doesn't really stand the test of time because he hasn't done anything really contemporary. Like a large. I mean, there's not that many composers that we know of, anyways, at the top of our heads, and the ones that we do know are still in the industry. So anyhow, I thought there were some really outstanding pieces, but what this movie in score did for me was really dated, and that I think that's just that's kind of the thing. I
agree.
With this,
it definitely served its purpose. Like I these days, I think as contemporary.
Let me back up my argument real quick. I understand this is supposed to be a movie that takes place in the late 40s, so it actually does thematically work, but it also kind of, I don't know, bummed me out. It didn't feel like it took any chances, but it was really strong and really solid.
I get it, cause this is a similar thing as, you know, we're both fucking millennials, you know, and so we were born. Okay, no, sorry, I clipped out for there a second.
Yeah, you're good. I know, I saw it.
But we're I don't know, like you and I, at least, when it comes to personal taste, have more of a preference for more like contemporary filmmaking and more like taking risks and like doing things kind of outside the box. And that's why we like, for example, Goodfellas, even though Goodfellas is just excellent, period, but it's like, it's doing kind of like a little bit, it's like working on a higher level through cinema with its editing, with its cinematography, more than this is. Can you hear me?
Right. It is, so where I think what,
but no. It's because it's like, that's why I say it's like ahead of its time.
I just want to say, Goodfellas does do the same thing. It has music that is period accurate, but the score also gets a little boppy and zappy, and it kind of homages the old 40s and 50s, even though this takes place over a long period of time up in like the 70s.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like early 70s. Things weren't getting crazy and experimental like in mainstream Hollywood yet.
Yeah.
Like they were a little bit, obviously, in the late 60s and stuff. But like for this big of a movie, especially, it's like it does feel like you said, like sort of like clean and kind of perfect and like kind of like. And I that's honestly my biggest gripe with like the golden age of like the 40s, because everything was like so sanitized and so perfect structure, perfect length. They have it down to a science and not as much of an art. And I feel like the score, what you're saying, is it's like it hits all the beats of what I usually don't like in a score, which is like, tell me how to feel.
It tells you how to feel, dude. That's the weakest part of a score, is when it's like the high strings, so you feel kind of like you feel good, and you're supposed to feel emotional, and then like the low points, and like, but it's like
I agree with
classic. But that is like, this composer is older, so he's doing it from the standpoint where it's like that was kind of new, and then that became kind of the standard mainstream, and then thus now in our generation we can see that it's like, oh, that's like we have 50 years to be like, oh, progression that we've gotten to now,
right?
But I think this score is serviceable and strong, and it's good.
I definitely think it's strong, but it does exactly what it should do. Like, I mean, like it's iconic and memorable attached to this piece of film, but it also just kind of is there as like it's not the focus. Like there will be some movies, like some of my favorite scores take over a scene. You know, I'll be watching a movie that I love the score of, like when we were watching, Under the Skin, and I'm obsessed with that score. I think it's so good. And I'm like totally enwrapped in the score, like it really makes the scene. But this movie, it's like I feel like this era of thinking is like the score you shouldn't really notice. You should just like the score is there to serve everything else and to help bring it home. And I think this does that excellently well. But it is kind of, I think, a dated way of thinking. And nowadays, a lot of movies that are just super basic on the score, I feel like they just didn't give it any thought. This, it serves its purpose and is like kind of in the background. It's kind of subtle, except for when it needs to like this big theme coming back here and there. But it's, I get what you're saying for sure. So.
And that
is
it's fine. Like I love it.
Travis died, right?
I was just texting him today. Travis is alive and well. He's been gaming hard and working on his.
Oh, that's right. He's been gaming.
So
got to get him on that Hunt Showdown. Just kidding.
I know.
I've given up.
Really,
I've learned to play solo.
Yeah. Travis, yeah, yeah. Oh, buddy. But Travis will be back next week. But I won't reveal the movie until the end. Let's.
I got a couple of Reddits.
Let's go down, please. Yeah.
How do you feel about that? So, Muses with Wine says, I think one reason it's heralded every further year is that it ages so well. I don't know how to put it into words, the why of it, at least not sufficiently. It seems to be a staple driven further down as time passes, largely due to new people seeing it their first through other times, so it seems almost to be on track for mythologizing. I like that. I don't know if I'm saying that word. But it's interesting because like
I like that.
That's an interesting comment because it's not like about the movie, but it's about like the mythic status,
which we were kind of talking about at the beginning. Is
few movies have that. I feel like this and like Citizen Kane and like a couple others have this like weird. Not as much as this though. Like this, I feel like this hit the everyman a little bit more. So it's got more into like our culture and like the more like film lexicon in general. Whereas like Citizen Kane is still more of like, oh, but I'm like a film person, you know.
I think Citizen Kane is the first it's the first example of pretty much the technical end of what we see now.
Yeah.
So that I think that's why a movie had to be like kind of one of the first movies to like build the structure of what we see now, and basically how all movies have been the template of all movies since.
Oh, for sure.
Thus Citizen Kane exists, but then it's like this movie definitely like it kind of just highlights and emphasizes all the things that Citizen Kane laid the groundwork for.
Muses with Wine. Sorry if I kind of butchered reading your comment. The alcohol's starting to hit me a little bit, but we appreciate it. They also said in a separate comment, and of course, let's not forget the sequel was even better. See, everyone says that. I gotta watch it, dude. A lot of people say sequel's better than the original. A lot of people say Godfather 2 and T2. Those are like the big ones.
Yes, that's what I say. And How to Train Your Dragon 2. That's always been my.
Really, I've never seen that.
Second How to Train Your Dragon is so good, dude. It works perfect, dude. It highlights. It's like the growth from the first one. Exactly, it does exactly what T2 does and what Godfather 2.
I got a couple more, and everyone, thanks for commenting because I got like 20 comments on this one. And a lot of them were kind of longer too. So
our little cinephiles out there, thanks everybody.
It's The Godfather, so it's Sink the Tooth says undoubtedly a classic. If you can get over the lengthiness, it's definitely worth a watch. The Godfather influenced so many, if not all, mobster movies and media of the modern era. Personally, I enjoyed Godfather 2 the most because of De Niro and Pacino's performances. Francis Ford Coppola used the mafia to showcase the human appetite for power, war, and business by means of betrayal and murder. In the beginning of the movie, Michael is the good son who served his country, remaining uninvolved in the family business. After Sonny is murdered, we see a great change in Michael. I believe the mafia is a metaphor for humanity, which reveals our imperfection and corrupt nature when dealt great power and responsibility. There is so much more to unpack to this film, but the themes of betrayal and revenge take center stage. See, thank you for
Dude,
that comment.
that
Because
is-
that
You should do a podcast.
that's
Come on,
what
buddy.
I was. That's what I was
great.
trying to say earlier about the mafia being like this, like image for the American dream. That's what I was trying to say. It's like it's always a good story for like the allegory of like, you know, the power
Well,
and corruption.
I was gonna comment that it's
But better
when
spoken
you
than
do
me. Yeah,
something-
do a podcast.
that was great. No, that was great. Yeah, thank you for the comment.
I know
We
we're
love-
over
we
here
love seeing it.
fucking brambling.
Yeah, well, that's what we like to do. That's
Yes,
what
it
people
is.
come to listen to. But
Bramble.
anyhow, I was gonna say anything that is a really hard stylistic genre, you can find great ways to tell a human story. Like that's,
Oh, yeah.
that's why we love westerns.
That's
and
great
horrors
art,
and-
my friend. Period. And
Yeah, right.
And I feel like it's how you use the genre to tell a human story, which is what connects to people on an emotional level. That's art. That's cinema. And that's why this movie is heralded as one of the greats, not only of just the genre, but of movies. God, I love movies. I love movies so much.
I know this is so good. Yeah.
It's the only thing I like, probably.
Oh yeah, you've got kids and a wife.
Yeah, they're all right.
Oh, actually, my
Just
God.
kidding.
Well,
I love my kids.
We're not gonna
my
tell.
wife.
I barely remember to tell anybody this, but I got engaged. So that's
Hey, I was gonna congratulations. I
I
did.
mean, we're gonna.
I was gonna say something at the top of the episode, but
Yeah.
we've been. I don't know.
That's great. And it was movie themed, so fuck you guys. I got
It was.
proposal ever. So
I got to tell you, I'm so glad to. I had fun working on that, but I'm so glad it's over because it gave me an ulcer. I feel like.
it's so good. Were you editing it or David?
No, I was going to edit it, but then my computer was having all those issues,
Yeah.
and so
Dude,
I
I
was
need
like, David, edit this, and he was like, ugh, fine. But then he was like, it gives me something to do and work on.
Well,
I guess,
and dude,
you know?
and David
But
is
he's
so
a better
good
he's a
at
better
editing.
editor than me
Oh,
for sure.
And you know
so-
what? There's a scene in the documentary where Patrick's chair goes like,
That's-
and then it's silent. Or is that your chair?
That's my
Anyway-
chair, but
anyways,
it's perfectly with it. It is.
Well, dude,
I know that
it's
sound
the
anyway.
funniest-
Trust me.
It's the funniest
It's so
part
good.
of the
It's
whole
so
thing,
good.
and it's like it's funny because I know for 100% fact David left it in for you and me.
100%.
Like
There's a couple
100%,
moments.
David. I love you, David. You left it in
he
on
edits to
purpose.
his
I know
audience for
there's
sure.
There's so many different parts of it that were beautiful, but anyways, I just stole the center stage there for a minute.
Yeah, congratulations though. I'm really happy for you.
We
You
do
can,
love cinema, and let's hear some more Reddit.
I got one more at least. There's a couple more, but I'll only read one more. So, Clones Are People 2 says, my first post here, although I have followed this subreddit for a long time, I decided to participate for the first time this year. So this is an apt one for me to start the year. I thought the same thing. Yeah, Godfather, right? The Godfather is the film that sparked my love for film. When I was 15 or 16, I got a small sum of money and not knowing what to do with it, I ended up finding IMDb and deciding that I would watch as much as I could from the top 250. Later that day, I bought The Godfather and started on my love affair with film. I've seen The Godfather at least 10 times now, and every time I watch it, I end up abandoning all critical analysis and becoming absorbed in the Corleone family and watching Michael experience the corruption in the world, causing him to transition from a rebellious young adult, how does a mafia son join the army, to a ruthless mob boss. I have never thought about the score too much, but now that I do, I can hear the opening bars leading to I Believe in America. I feel like celebrating to an old man singing an Italian song with vibrant expressions. I hear Johnny Fontaine singing while the girls croon. The music of The Godfather has stuck with me. The sounds have too. It's been about 3 years since I last watched it. I wasn't planning on a rewatch, but maybe now I will. And go to the Reddit, check it out, because he actually, I think he did rewatch it because he did do another post. And I talked to him about it a little bit. But thank you for commenting, and thanks for participating. I love to see it.
It's
Obviously,
dude, I'm so excited to see the growth here, and we can have more discourse. And that is my vow. A resolution. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm going to be more active. Which
same.
We're here, baby.
Same.
We're
We're a resolution, if you want to call it that. We started this film club like 5-6 years ago as kind of just a lark, but then we started the podcast. It's been 3 years next month. 3 years or 4 years?
We're
Three?
coming.
I think
We're
it's
coming
three.
up on
I think it's
100
three.
episodes, man. That is bonkers.
And
I love it.
just for our love, like we were like, we just want to do this thing, man, and I don't care if anyone listens. Like I just
No, right?
I just want to
And it's
like watch a movie and then talk about it for an hour because my wife is so sick of hearing me talk about movies. Like she just doesn't want to hear it.
I know, right? And then we have so limited time to talk to each other, and so I'm very happy to
Yeah.
talk with you. And then I love
the
using
interactions
Reddit
we get
forum.
on Reddit and
Yeah.
then we get on even like Facebook and stuff. It's just to
It's great.
hear other people's opinions about these movies. I mean, that's why we started this film club. I mean, we're watching a movie, The Godfather, which is 50 years old, but we all just watched it and we're talking about it as if it came out yesterday. And I fucking love
Right.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
We well, I don't know. I feel like that's such a beautiful way to end it. Like,
Well, what do we use? We've already talked. I know we've been out the
I was
loop,
supposed
dude.
to do-
We
I
talked
was
about
supposed
our
to do.
favorites.
We're supposed to do
Money
we
Minute.
do- how we normally do it is favorite scene, Money Minute. If you like this, watch this.
Oh,
So that's kind of our, but I guess it's like, yeah, we actually do Reddits right after we talk about our opinion. Then we do favorite scene, Money Minute, if you like this. But anyways, Money Minute, real quick. This is a crazy ass. It was one of the highest grossing movies ever. It or at least two ratio of production cost. It costs like roughly $6 million to make, which some sources say you can kind of double that now. But anyhow, doesn't really matter. Still, $12 million, and it grossed $250 million. So
wow.
That's
good.
That's fine.
That's
It did just
just fine. Because
Yeah.
like, $6 million is it's it's a fair price for the 70s, but it's not like crazy. But
Right.
it's a big budget, and you could see why Paramount was so involved because it's like that's $6 million bucks. But boy, did they probably eat their fucking words on any doubts they may have because they made back fucking $250 million, which is a lot even for today. For a lot of films, if you would have made a movie
Right.
today on $6 million, and
$6
got
million
250 back,
and
that'd
made
be
250, you could make whatever you want after that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
now I'm looking at like other mafia movies and I'm trying to be like, what's the best ones? Because these ones are like, I mean, it's like you can't not just talk about these and Scorsese's. Like that's it.
I know
Everything
that
else is
actually
like
kind of my-
there's others, but they're just like not even close to on the same caliber.
no, they really
or
aren't,
they're
and that's
like
what-
tangentially connected to the mafia. They're not mafia movies. You know what I mean?
No, right? They've all kind of.
Oh yeah, go watch
God, what was
watch
that?
The Irishman next. The Irishman is good.
Yeah, I think that's really that's kind of like if
It's
you like
long.
this, it's
I mean,
like,
fuck The Irishman. Watch Goodfellas Part 2. Or
Really?
sorry, Godfather.
Godfather Part
Goodfellas
2,
Part
and then
2. More
Go watch
Back
Goodfellas
for
Part
Blood.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Godfather Part 2. We should watch it and then just do a fucking bonus episode on that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
maybe.
do it, man.
All right.
That's also another.
We're gonna
little
get
promise
better
we
about
made
that,
to
yeah.
everybody.
We're gonna-
Is we'll have more content, and that content will go. We'll probably throw some up on our Spotify and stuff, and up on our Podbean, and you can get it anywhere you devour your pods. But we also want to use our Patreon as a platform to get people to listen to our rambles, and maybe I think what we should do be really cute. Save the first 6 minutes of this episode, and we'll put it on the Patreon. And people can go. You can listen to the insane ramblings of Levi and Jordan
And
because it's
I will put up
Yeah.
the voice message then too. Then for that.
yeah, we'll put the voice
Yeah,
we'll put the
with it,
voicemail
yeah.
up on so people can
With
get
it.
the context.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That really is you guys should see. Our Patreon is pretty stacked as is, so we're gonna flush it out some more.
I want to. I if anything,
Yeah.
I've definitely had the realization I want to put more effort into this more. Because it has grown and it's cool to see all that. So
It is, yeah, and I love having a place to talk to people about film. And I love all of you out there in the world.
Yeah.
And Levi.
so we're doing. I love you too, buddy. We're doing. We're doing great scores for the month. Probably only do a handful of these since we started late. So.
Okay.
But the next
Sorry.
movie.
Let me now
Yeah,
answer
you
the
go ahead.
question earlier. Travis, will 100% watch the movie that won, and it won by a landslide, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I actually don't know what version is my
Dude,
favorite
I don't
version.
know.
So that was the question. So and once again, we loved it, dude. I love leading people on. Oh
Yeah.
baby, it feels so good. We're talking about the movie. What one for next week?
Scanner Darkly? Are we watching that?
Yeah. What is it, Apollo 13 or whatever?
Oh, yeah, Apollo 10 and a half.
10 and a half.
Which rules? Nobody's talked about that movie this year. Anyway, no, we're talking about Blade Runner. Duh.
Baby. Dude, I'm so excited.
I haven't seen the original Blade Runner in forever, so I'm excited.
I think the only
I don't remember what version I watched either.
Yeah, I think I've seen it twice, and I think I've seen the same version twice.
Yeah, I think I've also seen it twice, but I've seen the theatrical cut, which is trash. And then but I don't know. There's the director's cut, and then there's like the final cut.
Yeah.
I will figure out which the proper cut is, and I will put that one on the Plex.
Yeah, but I'm also
for Travis and you and myself, so we all watch the same version.
It'd be kind of fun. I mean, we have to watch the same version, but I would love to hear everybody out there in podcast land. What version do you like the most? And we had like 74 people vote for this movie. We had like 200 people vote.
You said you liked the fucking voiceover, you fucknut. So you should go watch the theatrical one. Yeah,
that's the theatrical. Okay, I think that's the only version I've seen.
Because that's the one that
is the theatrical.
That's the notorious fucking. Every time, like when narration is planned, it's great. But every time there's narration that feels like it's just exposition dumps. Because most recently, the movie Ad Astra with Brad Pitt is just got like so much narration, and it's the studio. Yeah. Anyway.
And that's the thing. Yeah, the studio interfered. I do think I think it is because I think the director's cut is a little too funky. And
they've done like the director's cut was the one to watch back then, but Ridley Scott has since, I'm pretty sure, gone back and been like, okay, this is the definitive. Everyone shut the fuck up. Here it is. And then we'll watch that. And then I'm obviously going to watch Blade Runner 2049 because I have to. Because I've been wanting to rewatch that movie anyway, so now I have an excuse to watch them both.
Dude, it is so
I just wish I could get my wife to double feature with me. She won't. I bet you she won't. Maybe she'll watch the first one, but we'll see. I doubt it.
Oh, I mean that's kind of rough. That's hard. I don't know which one I like more. Honestly, we're gonna watch both.
Right now, I like 2049 more, but we'll see because it has been like 10 years since I watched the original. So,
but I think it's just like the original has so much richness. Anyways, goddamn, we're not talking about Blade Runner today.
We're going to be back with Blade Runner next week.
Everybody.
And I'm weird that won the score. I'm going to put at least one more poll up. And I feel like I got to get I feel like these two scores are good. I don't remember the Blade Runner score, so we'll talk about it. I need like a big John Williams or Hans Zimmer, I personally wanted a Johnny Greenwood score, my favorite composer probably.
I know.
So I'm probably just going to do like 5 Johnny Greenwood movies next week. Because I do what I want. All right. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Check it all out. Blade Runner next week. Godfather. Rules. There it is.
Love you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.